everybody, what is going on? Serial Overdrive here, and today I'm playing Entropia Universe. As you guys can probably tell by the screen in front of me, what I'm going to be doing today is a 15, yes that's right, only 15 PEDs. I'm going to be doing a 15 PED basic filters run, or crafting run. So I'm going to go through a few things and just go over sort of why this run's lower than a lot of the runs that I do in the past, or have done in the past. So, first off, basic filters are very low level. They're sort of a level 1 blueprint. It's very time consuming to go through sort of any amount of PEDs on this. So that's why we're only doing 15 PEDs or 300 attempts. It's quite a few attempts in my opinion, and it's still something, I think. The interesting thing here is I'm noticing that this attempts thing isn't going down, which is very weird, but we're gonna let this run and just see how it goes. Maybe there's a bug. I don't think there is. Anyways, let's go over sort of what I'm doing here and just sort of the interesting things I've changed in crafting, because I don't do a lot of crafting runs, so there's a lot to talk about here. First off, you're gonna notice I've got none of these resources in my inventory here. So this is something I'm not sure if Mindark did it to trick us or to make things easier, but basically the crafting terminal will automatically pull from your storage. So you don't need ores and end matter on your person anymore to use them. This is great because anywhere you go on Calypso, you can just sort of craft without having to go to your storage and look for ores and end matter. It's annoying because when you want to do a 15 PED run, you can't just put 15 PEDs of oil and list into your inventory. You've got to leave it in your storage and do the math and how long that takes. So the math here is basically one list ingot is worth 3 PECs, one oil is worth 2 PECs, which means I'm spending about 5 PECs per attempt, okay? And if you just run the math on that, 300, that's 15 PEDs worth. I didn't want to do more because I felt like, again, this isn't something I can talk a ton about. And in fact, once I'm done with this, once I'm done explaining what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave you guys to it. I'm going to mute the mic and I'm going to put this into like a fast forward sort of time-lapse mode so you can see what's happening, but you're not going to have to sit here and just watch this go, because I think that could be boring. If I'm wrong, let me know down below in the comments, and the next crafting run I do, I'll fix that. I don't do many crafting runs because I don't think like the content's there. It's a lot more talking on my end, and there's a lot less to talk about because I can't really just sit here and, okay, 0.04 PEDs, that's a little bit of a loss. We lost 0.1 PECs on that. You know, it doesn't make sense to do that. So yeah, what I'm doing is basically I've got my inventory cleared. So we've got the oil and the list that are getting retrieved sitting here. We've got all of our sort of resin filters sitting here. And that's about it. Also, I've cleared out this space in my blueprints. So any blueprints I get will be counted in this run. This is going to be a very accurate depiction here. One of the reasons why I decided to do this is I had a lot of lists and oil lying around. And if you look at sort of the markup on list, it's 103.6 something percent, right? Oil's at 103, maybe 104%, let's say. Now, if you look at these basic filters, they're at 106.78%, which means on these basic filters, if I get 100% return, I'm going to come out just a little bit ahead. If I get even like a 98% return, I'm still a little bit ahead. So it gives you sort of a little bit of a leg up when you're crafting like this. Also, if you go look at my blueprints, I can't do that when I'm crafting. But I think at the beginning I showed that this blueprint has about an 88% success rate, so it's pretty high. So the numbers right now, they should be in my favor. I'm not sure if this is going to turn out in my favor or not. Also, with crafting, it's one of those things I can get a lot of skills from it for doing very little, just because I haven't done much crafting. I haven't done much vehicle repair or anything like that. I know, I should go up to a mothership and do all that, but it is what it is. Plus, when I'm spending PEDs, I don't want to just spend money to skill. I want to spend money with like the chance that I might get something back. I like doing that. Again, not the smartest thing because I know how that works. I know the fact that like it is way smarter to go up to a mothership and repair your way up to level 10 or anything like that. But at some point, you've got to just start crafting and just trying your luck. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to just get the odds in my favor and try my luck. I am going to be skilling up my basic filters blueprint. This blueprint isn't too advanced. It's got a 35.2 quality rating, which is pretty good. It gives me a decent success rate on it. It gives me a success rate that's maybe 10% higher than what I'd be seeing if I had a QR1 blueprint, or actually probably even like just like 6 to 8% higher. It's not even 10. It's still something though. So one thing to notice too on these is if I get anything that's 0.05 PEDs, that's break even. So I'm getting these near successes of 0.02 PEDs or 0.04 PEDs. That's actually a loss. I'm taking a small loss there on unfailed. I'm taking a loss. So the only time that I'm going to be up is if you look at this valuation. It's going to be right here. So I've got only 5 attempts that I was up on. So this is going to be a very hard slog. It's very rare that you actually make money doing this. But I figured this was sort of a good chance to go over crafting, go over a lot of the logistics behind it, and just introduce some people probably who haven't done it to crafting. Plus, I know some of you guys said you like watching me do crafting. I don't know. To be honest, I feel like it might be a little bit boring. That's why I'm a little hesitant to do it all the time. But at the same time, ooh, that was a nice one right there, 0.53 PEDs. Those hits are sort of what we need, because that's going to be quite a few runs that just covered with that hit. So that's pretty nice, and quite a few. It covers 10 runs. You can just do the math real quick there. But if we get a few hits like that, that's going to be really good for this run. And again, this is a very, if you're looking at like ways that you can spend very little and sort of passively make skills, crafting's one of the best ways to do it. You just hit that construct button and it just goes. Back when I started, it used to be that you'd have to manually click every time. So a lot of people just wouldn't do crafting because it was like this repetitive motion. You're not getting much from it, and it was just boring. Like, think about that every time having to click construct to make an attempt, right? There's 500 attempts here. And this is, I've got 500 attempts with about 40 PEDs of materials. 300 attempts is only 15 PEDs worth. So you've got to click your mouse 300 times in a row to get this crafting to go. It's a very annoying, very time-consuming process. People used to hate it. But now it's a lot better because you can hit construct, and then you can sort of walk away from your computer and let MindArc and Entropia as a whole sort of do the magic. Now, of course, a lot of people have affectionately referred to this as or maybe not so affectionately, but it's been referred to as the only way you can lose money 24/7 in Entropia Universe, which is true because you can craft all the time. You can do it when you're sleeping, and you can keep up those losses. So yeah, it's a bit of a money sink probably for most people. It has been for me in the past, but we're going to give this a go, see if the percentages work out. Again, I can take a little bit of loss with this and still come out on top. I don't expect to be making that. Like, I don't expect to make that back. Things to consider when you're doing a crafting run, right, are you're not always getting basic filters. So even though I'm going to get 107% for the basic filters, the res that I'm getting isn't going to net me too much. Oh, here we go. If you look at the markup on that, that's 101% and 101.4. Yeah, basically it's 101% that I'm making on that. So I'm going to be taking a 2% loss on the res, but I'm going to be making about a 3 to 4% profit on the filters when you just compare sort of market rates. That does work out in my favor if you do the math, because I'm going to make more filters than residue. So it works out. Different things come into play with different items that you're crafting. So if you're crafting some item with a markup, you want to use all your residue, because at 101%, if you're crafting an item that has 112% markup, you can actually make it a profitable thing for you. The big problem is, though, if there's a lot of blueprints for that item, everybody's going to have them, and every crafter is going to be trying to make eke a little bit of a profit out of it. So it's very hard to find that special item that'll work for you. Usually what it involves is going on auction, finding a blueprint that nobody else has, or very few people have, getting in contact with the few people who have it, and sort of controlling the market, saying, look, we can all make this gun, we can make it at this percent we all make a profit, let's sell it for this percentage, we all agree not to go lower, and as long as we're the only ones with the unlimited blueprints, life is good. And if you can get sort of a deal like that going, then you're golden. And some crafters have. There's a few that have really done good with that, where they just skill themselves up to an elite level of crafting, and then they sit on those all important, all just amazing blueprints, and really just let sort of the clicking do the work and have sort of a deal going. And there's people that have made thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands doing this. And again, it's all from markups, so you're not taking any money from Mindark. So Mindark is sort of a fan of that, and it's one of the few professions that you can put a lot of money into, and then eventually, if you're really, really good, really, really skilled, really, really lucky, get some money out of it, guaranteed. With L blueprints and everything like that, that's sort of, some of this stuff has come to an end, but there still are unlimited blueprints that you guys can use. But yeah, hopefully that sort of gives you an idea, a look into crafting. The market's a little bit different when you're crafting something like filters, because I can't really put residue into it to make more filters. If I could, I would. I'd buy all the residue I could and just put it all in, and every time I craft a filter using residue, I'm making 6%, which is great, because all residue does, there's no chance of losing residue, it just increases sort of the TT value of the item you're making. That's why it doesn't work when you're creating filters, because filters are a stackable item. So this residue thing only works with unstackable items, if that makes sense. But I think there's a little bit of potential here. Obviously, if you go to some of these higher level, harder to make blueprints, there's a lot more potential there, because the markup's going to be a lot higher, and a lot of these ores now are at all-time lows. So if you're really like sort of crafty, excuse the pun there, crafty crafter, you can do pretty good in this game. Anyways, at this point, we're still doing this run, but I sort of ran out of stuff to talk about. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to mute the mic, I'm going to put this into time-lapse mode, and those of you guys who are interested in watching can sort of see what comes up, and when the run's over, I'm going to come out of the time-lapse and sort of discuss the results. So I'll be right back, folks. Alright, we're back. So while this run sort of draws to an end, let's just take a look at how everything's gone here. You're going to see we got a good deal of list and oil back. We got a good amount of filters, actually. I'm pretty happy with this. 7.68 PEDs. That's better than most runs. And you'll see we did have some pretty high hits here. I saw 70 and 50. Yeah, so we got a 70 PED hit, a 54 PED hit, or PEC hit. You got the 53 here, and a lot of sort of 13s, 12s, 11s. So that's not too bad. Let's see if this thing's going to automatically stop at 30 or if it's going to keep going. So yeah, you guys can see like this didn't go too bad. We're going to add up the totals and see sort of where we're at compared to that like 15 PED starting point. But I don't think this was the worst run in the world. especially for like this type of thing. You never expect to make a lot when you're crafting. Actually, you expect to lose a lot. So that's sort of the run. That's sort of the data on that. I don't know if anybody would be interested in anything else. If you are, just comment down below in the video, and when I do one of these, I'll try and keep it in mind. We've got a lot of failures here if you look. It's about 14, maybe 15 per page, and we've got not too bad, I guess. We've got about 3 pages of failures and another. A lot of near successes here. A lot of near successes. So we got about 9 pages of near successes, and then the next couple pages are all successes. But a lot of those are just break evens. So just you've always got to keep that in mind. Success doesn't necessarily mean profit. It just means breaking even. Also, blueprint-wise, you'll notice we just had that one hit for basic filters. That's a basic filters blueprint. So that's really not worth anything, just for those of you guys who are wondering. So let's throw that in there first. Let's throw the leftover oil and list in. Now it's time to throw these 2 guys in. And finally the filters. So we got 12.28 PEDs back. We only lost about a little less than 3 PEDs. That's honestly a pretty good run for me. That's not bad, really. Like on 15 PEDs to only take a loss of what, 2.6? That is really good compared to how I've been doing recently, especially when you consider the filters have a bit of a markup to them. So I probably only lost about 2.5 PEDs total in this whole run, which again, that's like maybe like what, like 20, somewhere around like the 20% mark as far as losses go, which I'll take. I consider that to be a good run, actually. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about this. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. Again, if you guys like this sort of thing, let me know. If you don't, let me know, because I get it. It can be boring. But hopefully everybody, got something at least. Anyways, thanks for watching, and if you got any questions, comments, anything like that, as always, feel free to ask them down below. And if you really don't like crafting, feel free to let me know too, because I'm not sure. Like, I probably am not a huge fan of this style of video, but some of you guys really do like watching these crafting runs. So let me know if I decide to do any like big deal crafting. I'll definitely record that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Peace.